things about dealing with listings, and I am incredibly listing heavy as a broker in the Florida market. So I want to tell you from personal experience, taking the time and the energy and the intelligence to market a property correctly is almost 90% of the total effort. This is where the clients are going to gain their interest. It's the movie, it's the script, it's the initial trailer that gets any client, either local or moving from state to state or even internationally, drawn in to the property. And it goes beyond just the listing descriptions. So we're going to talk about marketing as a whole on a listing, which obviously it isn't something that a real estate agent should stress about, but it is the opportunity to put the spotlight on the property's very best features. The well-crafted description is great, but it should generate interest. It should increase leads on your listings itself. But how do you do it right? Today, we're going to tackle the 5 big elements of what is a great listing description and marketing. And I'm going to give you a few tips for writing better property descriptions in general. That paragraph is paramount to how you get people drawn in beyond just the quick sliding photos. Let's get cracking. So crafting a real estate listing description, it isn't rocket science. It is going to take more than just listing a property's key features. So what compromises a description is the ability to, is a lot of words without a lot of focus and meaning. So what I want you to do is understand how you capture the reader's attention. Well, let's break that down. The catch. What's the hook? Your catchy opening line. The most creative real estate description examples, kickoffs, one sentences or less, punchy titles. You want to be able to write that catchy brand for your listing, something that's going to draw people in and help them see this as a home and not just as another set of pictures on the internet. Then you want to talk about property selling points. After you get through that punch, the next section in your listing description has got to be 2 or 3 sentences of the home's best features. And no, I don't mean go repeat that it's got 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. I don't mean go repeat that it is 2,300 square feet. They've got that information already in the thumbnail. Stop doing that. This has to be a narrative. This has to be a description and not just a list of features either. Or God forbid, a bullet list. This is not a summary presentation to your boss. Homebuyers aren't shopping for groceries. They don't need a checklist of your listing features. They need a story. They need to be drawn in. They need to be attracted to the property before even seeing the pictures. Location and neighborhood appeal. You've got to pitch the benefit of not just the location and the neighborhood, but also the community. This is Florida. They already know this is sun and sand and surf. You've got to go beyond that. You've got to tell them why they want to live in this community or why they want to live in this rural area or what they're close to when they're going to live right here in the city. For example, if the house is on a noisy street with a lot of bars that are open late, talk about the nightlife access and the city sounds instead of making it feel as though there may be a negative line in there. If it's a not so great neighborhood, but on a pretty block or nearby a new development that's going on, mention the perks, mention the highlights of living there. Trust me, I don't care what community or where you live, there is a tone of negative surrounding all elements of a home. You need to focus on why you or your client fell in love with the property, because that's what's going to draw someone else to it as well. When you live there and when it's your investment and when it is your family home or when it is your personal hideaway and your living/workspace, you're going to see nothing but the beauty in the house that you're spending so much money on. The caveats that are worth mentioning, while I never suggest an agent writes a warts and all listing description, you do still need to alert potential buyers to any vital information. A house hunter might forgive you for not mentioning that noisy street or that less than perfect driveway. Still, they likely won't forgive you if you leave out a deal breaker like property has a leaky roof and will need immediate attention. Being upfront about things like this are going to help a buyer avoid surprises, and it's going to help your seller from dealing with disappointments. You almost need to disarm a potential buyer for anything that might get in the way. And then compelling call to action. The best home listing descriptions, for example, have a call to action. These CTAs, they encourage buyers to contact you, schedule a showing, attend your soon-to-be-announced open house. For instance, something as simple as, "This rare gem won't last long. Call me now for a private tour." This might be all the enticement that a buyer needs to encourage them to take that next step. Or, "I will be on site Friday from 1 till 4 o'clock. Come by at noon for a special private showing before the open house." Taking that time and the energy while you're focusing on setting up for an open house might be all somebody needs to feel like they're getting something before the big event. How many times have you bought tickets early, or how many times have you gone to a movie premiere the day before, or if you're a Star Wars fan, midnight of the day of release? That was all the rage, and how could you talk about it? But writing the best listing description, the marketing, the key guts and focus of your home, just give you a few tips. And we've got professional writers that I occasionally reach out to, especially on our high end and our luxury listings. I can give you a few tips that they consistently read across to me. So besides that, just cleverly paste real estate ad and your high quality listing photos that are a requirement, that listing description is going to help you attract buyers. Yes, they're going to read everything else too, but they were already going to do that. That paragraph, that story representing the property is what it is your biggest consideration. Along with some creative real estate description examples, hopefully some of these steps will inspire you. So first thing that I am consistently reminded of, and by the way, I have this piece of paper and this primary slide. Whenever I'm going in and I'm going to do my marketing for a presentation for a listing, when I first go in there, I am reminded of these exact steps in these orders so that I can get my head wrapped around what I need to do and how I need to do it. Number one, write for the buyers you want to attract. Begin with that headline that hooks the buyer, right? To sell a luxury home, for example, you must speak directly to high-end buyers. You've got to use real estate words that invoke exclusivity and that feeling of the limit that I am setting behind why you've got to have this property and not the others. If you're targeting first-time home buyers, you've got to focus on the neighborhood, the lifestyle, the benefits of owning this property would offer them. There are some great creative real estate listing descriptions out there. There are some examples that you can actually pull that'll target a right audience, but I can give you just a couple of examples of ones that we've used lately. Conveniently located just minutes from the prestigious beach and just 20 minutes from the Tampa Bay private airport, this estate is an accessible only through private gated streets community. Discover a life of unparalleled luxury and serenity from this manor, where timeless elegance and modern convenience and a blend seamlessly covers the heart of our city. Things like that are going to be attractive to people. Now, granted, you don't have to be a Harry Potter writer to get it all done, but it is important that they understand and maybe even giggle a little bit about, wow, this agent has certainly put some time into this paragraph. Let me read more. Step two, you need to showcase how it feels to live in that property in a community where the feelings and the surroundings and the positive energy around something is so critically important. I would say this is probably one of the first rules of writing. Sell the benefit, sell the experience. Um, as a famous copywriter, David Ogilvy would agree with me. Instead of telling your audience the listing has a backyard, tell them how much fun they could be having playing touch football with their friends in a yard or in the privacy and the serenity that it offers. Remember, your goal is to create a hook, something that makes the potential buyers feel like they're already stepping into the property. A little bit of an example of an inviting listing description. Spend your days in the multiple living spaces, playing games, watching films in the private theater room. This 2.5-acre saltwater lagoon is not only an inviting escape, but completes paddleboard, kayaking, fun, and experiences that the typical person has to go to a resort for. Located in nearby stunning, nationally accredited beaches, Paradise Shores allows you to explore and unwind the beautiful Tampa Bay serenity while creating lasting memories with families, friends, and colleagues.